This is a video on how to set up your NX or DX radio for variable gain channels using your levers if you have those on your radio. The NX10 does have those, so that's what I'm using. First thing you do when you set up your flight modes, that you should do, at least in my opinion, is you should set up your channel mix. And you do that by going to System Setup, Channel Assign, and then make sure you select a channel for your switch. I use B switch, like most people do. I make aux8 the B switch, aux9 for the left lever, and aux10 for the right lever. Then you go to Flight Mode Setup. This is again in the main menu, and you select switch B, basically there. And at that point, each mode should work correctly, and they do. Now, they aren't going to work correctly in forward until you go in forward programming, and then you have to select them there. So go back to the menu, back to beginning, and come on back down to forward programming. Again, you have to have your radio connected or it won't show up in your setup menu. So make sure you are bound to a receiver. Check your gyro settings, go to flight mode setup, and pick your FM channel that B switch is on. Again, we picked aux8. You make that change here. And as you make that change, you want to make sure that is set on input B, which is the switch we want to use to change your flight modes. Once you do that, you confirm they're working by toggling the B switch, and you notice they are now all working. You need to make sure that you have safe enabled on flight mode 1. If you want AS3X, you can activate that there, or you can leave it disabled. Go back to your AS3X settings. I'm sorry, go back to flight mode setup and go to 2 and make sure AS3X is active. And in flight mode 2, safe is not active by inhibiting it. Then you want to flip your switch to flight mode 3, and you notice then we don't want either one of those engaged, and then we want both of them inhibited in flight mode 3. So flight mode 1 should look like this, and again with the option of activating that if you want it. Flight mode 2, and I'm flipping the B switch and it's making this change. We only have AS3X activated, and then on flight mode 3, we have neither one activated. Okay, that's not the last thing you have to do, because the next thing you have to do is go to System Setup, and then you go to Gain Channel Select. Again, this is all in forward programming, so don't get confused about that. And then you have to pick your gain channel for your gains. Here we have gain 8 is going to be not correct, I'm sorry. We want to pick channel 9 for safe, and we want to pick channel 10 for AS3X. And again, we have all axes in both of those. You can choose which axis you want. I just leave them all. And that's all you have to do there. Now, you notice when I hit on aux8, it jumped to aux9. I don't really know why that did that, so don't hit aux8. You don't need to do anything with aux8. The only thing you need to do is aux9 and 10 in this selection. And this is where it gets confusing, is because you have to pick the gain channel select for each channel for safe and AS3X based on how you assign them back in the channel mixing. Remember, we assigned those aux8 and 9, and so we just simply go to aux9 and make sure that's safe, and we go to aux10 and make sure that's set on AS3X. That's all you got to do there. Then now we want to go to AS3X settings, and we want to make sure that our gains are adjustable. Again, you have to put your flight mode switch in the right setting. So in flight mode 2, we only have AS3X in flight mode 2, and that's where you make your changes here. Get back out and go to safe settings. Again, we only have safe settings in flight mode 1, so you have to have flight mode 1 engaged. And again, make your changes there at these 2 points. And once you do that, you can then fly your airplane, and you'll see that those work. You can also verify that these are working correctly by adjusting. I'm adjusting the left lever for aux9, which controls your gain setting on safe, and on aux10, which controls your gain setting on AS3X. Now, before you fly the aircraft, you want to make sure that your settings for AS3X are at least reasonable by just simply mechanically pushing the tail up and down in safe mode and seeing if it's reacting accordingly. And the same thing in AS3X. You should hear those servo motors moving a little bit as you move the plane around. Now, there's one thing you need to be aware of, and that is under forward programming for each gyro setting. Since you can set these by, again, you have to put it in the right mode, you can adjust these to whatever you want them to be. Whatever this number is the high point number of the variable setting. So if you don't have enough AS3X or safe engaged, it's not doing anything. You can come back into your flight modes and under forward programming and adjust those. Again, you have to be in the correct mode to do so. You can't adjust, you have to be, if you're going to be adjusting your gains in these, I have mine set at 100 for safe mode, and then for AS3X. Let's see what I have, that flight mode 2. Those are just set at kind of the default settings, but you can make these anything you want. And then whatever the high point is the high point number of the variable that the lever will use at the highest setting. And that's basically it. Hope you have fun. If you have any questions, just post it on the group.